And everybody's expecting one headlight to start at the end of that. You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative here on WUDR Dayton. A rock in the Gem City, music in all directions. Support your local music scene. Many thanks to Lindsay Murray, who called in to talk about the terrific Not a Surf tribute that she made as Gretchen's Wheel, Moth to Lamplight. I absolutely adore that collection. You should pre-order a copy right now at gretchenswheel.bandcamp.com. It's okay, we'll wait. No, just kidding. We have Charlie and Amanda Jackson joining us here in studio. We've got a Facebook Live video going if you want to watch along, and they're delightful, why wouldn't you? I'm calling you on that one, Amanda. I think it's absolute truth. But Amanda, Charlie, Jackson, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
So you guys have got some shows coming up. Let's start there.
Alrighty. We do. We have St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. We are going to be playing from 3:30 to 5:30 at Star City Brewery, alongside some other local names of recognition. David Payne's playing, Harold Hensley, California Howdy's playing. There's another band that I've never heard of, and I don't remember. Patty Whackers. They're an Irish band. So they're all playing that one. And then the next weekend, March 23rd, we are opening up the Age Nowhere record release show. So we're very excited about both of those.
Yeah.
And that Age Nowhere record is fantastic.
I actually haven't heard it yet.
Oh no! Oh no! We may have to play some for you here then.
I've heard about like 3 songs from it. So
where am I? I haven't heard any of them.
I don't know.
Uh-oh, and it seems like we have started Discord already on the show. We were talking about that off air. We're just going to leave that right there. But I'm also curious that now, Charlie, you've done solo work. You've, of course, got the Heartland Railway, Charlie Jackson, the Heartland Railway. And now you've got a duo. So I expect to hear any day about your electronica project.
That might be a few years off, Art.
Yeah, Joy Division cover band or something. But no, and in all seriousness, I'm really curious about the evolution of kind of Charlie and Amanda Jackson, the duo. Clearly you guys are awesome together, in part because you are a legit couple.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious about how the duo came about.
Well, for years, she had always sung with me. She would do a song here or there when we'd have a special at church or something like that. And then after enough coaxing, what was it, a couple years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, she finally sang one song with me at a house show at Scott Loy's house from Starving in the Belly of the Whale. I was playing a house show, and she came up and she did the Cowboy Junkies song, If I Were the Woman and You Were the Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But we did that song.
And there's a video out there, and it's so funny because I'm so quiet, I can barely hear myself.
Yeah,
so.
she was super nervous just to even do one song in front of 15 people.
Yeah.
And then once I finally, got her a little broken in from that, she started doing a song here or there. Usually one song, at tops 2 songs with me when I do a solo set. And then we just kept working on other songs at home, and eventually I talked her into doing a full set with me.
That's not quite how it happened.
Why don't you enlighten
What's your interpretation, Amanda?
He had been asking me a long time to do shows with him, and I did do one song here or there, covers usually the Cowboys Junkie song and In Spite of Ourselves, and then he started writing more duet songs for us, and we did a lot of shows at the Slovak Club. That was like one of our favorite places.
That's kind of our proving grounds.
Yeah. And then he started booking shows without telling me that we were even a duet.
I figured once she was committed, then she had to go through with it.
There you go.
Yeah, so he started doing that in October, and then December 7th was our first show. Yeah.
So you purposely started writing duets?
Yeah, because we've been doing If I Were the Woman and You Were the Man, and John Prine and Iris DeMent's In Spite of Ourselves.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good response from those, but I wanted to have something that was original. I didn't want to just do covers with her. So I started writing some duets for us to sing.
Is it different writing a duet as opposed to
It's very difficult.
other songs?
Yeah, it was a lot harder than I expected it to be, to try to write from another perspective, especially her perspective. So yeah, that was a lot. I didn't think it was going to be that difficult, but it has proven to be pretty interesting.
So a little more of a challenge.
Oh, it is, definitely.
And I'm not much of a writer, so there was one song that he was, Oasis, that he was really trying to figure out like what I would say. And so I just kind of, he played what he had, and I just kind of said, well, this is how I feel most of the time. And he was like, okay, just give me a minute. And he
And went
just
back to the
kinda-
bedroom and
yeah.
wrote down some more stuff. I'm like, how about this?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's still important creative input. You know what? Especially, you know, it must be hard to try to capture that other person's voice
It really
in the
is, yeah.
lyrics, as opposed to your other projects where it's pretty much, you know, your voice. You
Right.
might have like someone like Denny singing backup, or you know, you got another vocalist with Ricky, but he's usually back behind the drums.
Right.
So you might have some vocal harmonies come in, but you're not thinking about like another
Right.
narrator,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
I'm also curious. Are you guys doing any recording? I think didn't we talk? that you
Yeah,
were
we actually
getting
just
there?
started recording an EP at Real Love with Patrick. Patrick Hines. He's recorded everyone in Dayton pretty
Yeah.
much now.
He seems to be a busy guy.
yeah. We've had one good session. We've got some good stuff done. We've still a long way from being done with
Yeah.
it, but yeah, we're excited about it.
So we can expect that album. What next week? Friday?
If it were only that easy. We're realistically thinking probably super late this year, early next year.
Sure.
With the amount of time that Patrick has available,
Yep.
you've got to wait forever to get back in with him. So, I mean, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's worth it.
So,
I mean,
Yeah,
he's good
yeah,
at what
it's
he
and it's
does.
definitely worth it. So,
So the duo is more of, would it be fair to say, traditional country music?
I think it would, yeah, more like in the vein of Conway Twitty, Loretta Lynn, and Georgia Jones and Tammy Wynette, Johnny Cash and June Carter. That's kind of what we were shooting for anyway.
It's interesting, other than Loretta there, they're couples.
Right.
Yeah.
They're truly couples. So is that something that you're trying to capture with what you're writing? Like, what's going on in a marriage?
Quite a bit, yeah. I mean, I write a lot.
I guess
more.
there's only one song that doesn't really.
Yeah, most of the songs are at least have a hint of truth to them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Sticking Around's the only one that doesn't really have any truth except for he is creeped out by Jello, and I do try to keep my distance from clowns. So that's about the only thing in that song that's true. But I think all of our other songs do kind of
yeah,
have.
I mean, I figure we have a pretty good chemistry, not singing. So I kind of wanted to try to transfer that over to having a good chemistry on stage as
Right.
well. So yeah, I pretty much try to write stuff that really sounds like who we are.
Yeah.
And
I'm curious when you guys perform, and we've seen you at several places, and whether it's Blind Bob's or Yellow Cab or a couple of other, I was thinking like South Park Tavern or something like that, but you guys have played out quite a bit. Do you feel that same chemistry like when you're at home singing together? Is that what you're trying to translate when you perform live?
yeah, that's for the most part. I mean, it's hard to get her a little more loosened up.
Yeah, at
She still gets
home-
nervous at shows, so she doesn't move around and
At home, I'm making a lot of faces and I'm
dancing
dancing
around.
around and everything, and then on the stage I'm just like stiff
Stick
as a board,
straight.
like oh my god, people are looking at me.
Well, I thought that was just your thing, right?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, I dance around at home a lot, and just not at shows at all.
I look forward to the next show where you start to do that.
I'm trying to transition into that because I don't play an instrument, so I have to do something on stage.
What? And then of course, if we're talking about you guys on stage, you wear just the cutest outfits, right? Now, is that part of that element in country music where you're trying to convey some ideas through the wardrobe?
No, I saw dresses and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cute. I want to buy it. So I did. I bought like 2 dresses and I bought some shoes that went with them, and then I, kind of wore them out a little bit. And Charlie was like, well, if you're going to be dressed up, I have to be
Yeah, I had
dressed
to.
up.
I couldn't have her, going out all gussied up and me going in like a t-shirt. I mean,
So-
that just wasn't gonna work.
But it gave him an opportunity to buy all those snap butt Western shirts that he likes. So
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Right.
Well, and the hat.
Yes.
You typically have I think when you do the duo, you typically have a cowboy hat on.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
So there's that element as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, my adorable guests are Charlie and Amanda Jackson, who are a duo playing out on March 17th at Star City, and they're also playing March 23rd as part of the Age Nowhere Airport Sounds release show at the Yellow Cab Tavern. There are links on our website, but then if you just look this stuff up on Facebook, you're going to find these events. I'm curious, can we get a song from you guys?
Oh, absolutely. My pick.
You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative here on WUDR, Dayton, Ohio, rockin' the Gem City, music in all directions. Support your local music scene.
I'll stick with you, 'cause I don't wanna lose half my stuff. You really ain't all that great, but I guess you're good enough. And there ain't no one that I wanna date in this godforsaken town. So I guess it'd just be easier if I just stuck around. I see you roll your eyes at every single joke I make. Once, every single one was fake. I don't wanna have to wear clean clothes and dye my gray hairs brown. So I guess it'd just be easier if I just stuck around. Guess I'll stick with you, 'cause I don't wanna lose half my stuff. You really ain't all that great, but I guess you're good enough. And there ain't no one that I wanna date in this godforsaken town. I guess it'd just be easier if I just stuck around. Don't just stop begging, that's all I can say. You've grown pretty used to what you see and what you get. 'Cause you're picked up by Jello and you're terrified of clowns. So I guess it'd just be easier if I just stuck around. Be a whole lot easier if I'm just stuck around. And if I'm honest, God help me, kinda glad you stuck around.
So how long did that song take to come out? Did
That
that come right?
one actually came pretty quickly. Yeah, that was a fun one to write.
And that last line, the God help me, I'm kind of glad I stuck around, that only came up because at home we just relentlessly pick on each other all the time, and then sometimes he'll get really fed up with me and I'll look at him and be like, you love me.
And I was saying, God help me, I knew.
I like that. So it captures that kind of real,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's happening at home.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's something I think that you strive for, whether your solo work or the Heartland Railway stuff, or now the stuff with Amanda here. You're trying to be authentic.
Yeah, I mean that's the key. I mean, people can smell, when you're trying to fake it from a mile away. So I want to be as real as possible.
Well, and I got a comment. Every time I see you, I feel like your voice gets stronger, Amanda.
There's not a whole lot of people here watching me. even if there's a lot of people listening or like on Facebook or anything,
She
they're
can't
not
see
in the
it.
room.
That's right, that's right. Well, I can certainly appreciate that. It's easy for me to make a fool of myself on the microphone when I have this strange sense that nobody's here, nobody knows this, and then I realize later, what?
Yeah. When we got married, I actually told my mom, I said, can I just climb out of the window and meet Charlie in the parking lot and we can run away and get married, because I did not want to have that walk down that aisle with everyone staring at me. So
Yeah, the party afterwards is easy,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Well, I totally respect that. You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative here with Charlie and Amanda Jackson. We're going to give them a minute to rest their voice. We're going to listen to something else Charlie wrote that we like a whole lot. solo record.
Oh yeah, this is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
old stuff.
This is old. Yeah, vocals sound good. No problem on my end. Everything seem okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys warm or cool enough?
I'm
They
fine.
tend to keep it a little chillier in here.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, cool. Or what else should we be pushing? We've got the shows to talk about. We talked about recording. Anything we're dying to talk about?
No, I mean we've really only been an official duet project since December, so it's not really.
Wow. Wow.
That was
that's
our
soon.
first full show.
Oh,
in
really?
December, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and then I think we played every Friday in December.
We did.
And then we had just like 2 shows in January and like 3 in February.
Oh, golly.
Yeah, so
Well, you guys seem awfully polished for, well, maybe it's all the singing at home.
Right. Yeah. We practice all the time at home.
And he's been
so.
doing this. He's been
Courtney.
doing this for 7 years, and he's been doing
Yeah, the
music
railways.
for even longer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So I'm just curious. So as you think about like other projects or like going in recording some stuff with the Heartland Railway, would you have Amanda come and sing backup or?
That's my ultimate goal, is to merge the two
Is
eventually.
to merge.
Oh,
Not even just
okay.
that.
Right, yeah, like have the railway learn the songs that we're doing as a duet, and having her sing more. Because when we do play live, I've worked out most of the railway songs for duets now.
Oh,
for her to sing with
okay.
me. So,
I think I've
'cause,
noticed
I've
that.
only
yeah.
got so much material to work with. We got to do like a 2-hour set.
Yep.
We're gonna be doing a lot of railway songs, so she's been
Yeah,
working with me
but
on
even
some of
like
those.
Days of Wine and Roses, this song, it's been, he wrote it so
Yeah, I wrote
long
this
ago
song
that-
probably like 9 years ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I
wow.
know this
She's heard this
Wow.
one. She's heard it a time or two.
2 Ships was harder to learn, but I got that down.
Yeah, because that's a
Oh
tricky
yeah,
one.
because didn't you guys do that at like
Yeah,
Winter
we're
Folk?
recording
I
that one
liked
because-
that.
Because that's
different
one
enough.
that's changed enough to be worth recording again. Like most of the ones that she's done with me, the railway songs, they're pretty much the same arrangement. Just she sings a verse and I
Oh,
sing
right,
the
right, like
chorus,
you just
but
send it back.
2 Ships is completely different. So we're re-recording that one.
Because I came with them and I said, I said, we could do 2 Ships. I said, because, and I did this even before we were a duet. I said, we could do 2 Ships. I said, because the second verse could just be from the female perspective.
She's got to change a lot of pronouns. And,
And I
Oh
said-
yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I said, I was thinking about that when you were recording it with the railway, and he was like, why didn't you say something then?
that wasn't the only time that happened.
That was not the only time.
After
I had
the
an
railway
idea.
album came out, she's like, well, you should have done this. I'm like, why didn't you say that then? I didn't want to intrude. I'm like,
It wasn't my band.
Well, I mean that speaks to you're being awfully respectful there,
Right.
Right?
But
That's
it's
not
stuff
necessarily
I
a
really
bad.
would've- It's stuff I would have absolutely
Yeah.
liked to do on that record that she didn't say anything about.
Oh well,
So I told her, I told her,
oh
I
my
said, just
God.
tell me everything that happens, that you think of. I'll go with some of it I might not like, but just give me the option to choose.
I think we often have those
Yeah.
thoughts. I go back and look at things that I wrote early on in my career, and I'm like, man, this is horrible.
Oh, yeah.
This is so bad.
Oh, I've got notebooks of that stuff.
Well, see, unfortunately, it's out there in paper somewhere. Well, I don't know how much of that is still in paper anymore, but there's a fair amount that's like on the electronic journal. That's I get these weird statistical reports about people are reading stuff that I wrote, and I'm like, oh, that's really bad stuff I wrote. They're the mistakes, and you only remember the stuff you screwed up on.
Oh, yeah.
Since you were speaking about it,
Right.
because that's a nice segue back in then to say, hey, you're re-recording this.
Right.
As it do. Plus, this song just rocks.
Yeah, it does.
Ricky
Well, I
always
mean-
calls us our punk song.
Where is it? Oh, yeah, up there, the Goodnight, Gary from Goodnight Goodnight gave me that poster and said, you gotta display that in a prominent space way up high on the wall, because someday you'll be famous. And I'm like,
I think that ship has sailed.
well,
I don't think that's really gonna
if there was
happen.
true justice in the music world,
Well, there'd be a lot of people that,
yeah.
and there'd be a lot of people that wouldn't have careers. So we know there's no
Just
justice.
saying, from my perspective, I don't think you can look to the music industry for justice.
Yeah.
We can dream about it, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
Like back in the 50s is when it was like, you had people that, it was worth it. They had you had to have talent or you were famous.
Well, I mean, I play stuff in my pop music class, like Reverend Al Green, and there's no. you know, there's a few things where they turn him up or down, but it's just him in front of a microphone.
Right.
You might have a second, you know, you record a second vocal track or something like that, and you try to put them together, but you're trying to put tape together in a situation like that, or you're playing it back and having him sing along and capture both. And it's funny how I would point out, like, his first couple of records, he's walking into the studio, and he was like a machine cranking 1 or 2 or 3 takes. Like, no one did that. You know, now just an example of what you're talking about, like folks really had amazing talent.
Yeah.
And whether or not that's somebody's style or the music they like.
Yeah.
You know, or like Hank Williams would come in with his guitar and just do like song after song after song.
yeah.
You know, I forget a couple of those early songs. It didn't have much, or it had no band arrangements. Just him with that acoustic, and he would come in and in some cases he would just do the one take and then say he'd be right back, but didn't come right back. So that's all the producer had to work with.
I just think of Sun Studios a lot because I've just read up on it a lot, and there was that show.
It's kind of cool to go. It's kind of cool to
Yeah,
go
we went there on family vacation a few
that
years
was
back.
so funny because our youngest was 5 at the time.
Yeah.
He's
He was-
upstairs laying on
He
the
was
Sun
so
Studios
sick and
floor
tired of
going,
listening to.
I'm so bored, and I'm like,
Do you have any idea where you are?
Right.
Where you are laying down being bored is where Elvis Presley recorded
Yeah.
That's All Right Mama.
Right.
Or, gosh, you think of those early, like what Jerry Lee Lewis, or, you know, now Johnny Cash had already established himself a little bit. But yeah, Roy Orbison recorded there. I mean, I'm trying to think, there are tons of those early folks. Carl Perkins recorded there. Yeah, we should talk. Yes, some fine stuff there from my good friend Charlie Jackson, who's here in studio with his talented and lovely wife, Amanda Jackson. They are the Jackson 2, as we like to say around town. I did not come up with it, but God help me, I wish I had. You guys, we were talking off air about all kinds of things, but Two Ships is a song from Charlie Jackson, the Heartland Railway.
Right.
And you guys are redoing that as a duet.
Yes.
So how does that work?
Well, my songs have always taken quite an evolution in songwriting. And when I first wrote that song, I wrote it to be a lot slower. And then just through, you know, kind of jamming with the band and all that, it eventually ended up much faster and on electric guitar and into what you just heard on the song that you just played. But originally it was supposed to be a softer, more mellow kind of song. And so around the house or when I do, you know, solo shows, lots of times I would play it, you know, the original kind of way. And then Amanda had, you know, kind of tipped me off to the fact that, you know, if you just change around some pronouns, that could be a duet song. And so we changed around some pronouns and started practicing it, and it turned out really well. So since it's so different from the Railway version, we decided that that's one of the ones that we're recording with Patrick. So.
Oh, and I look forward. I think I've heard you play it out, and it's not like it's half speed. It's just a different kind of arrangement.
Right.
And so I'm curious about that, in the sense of you looking at other songs to do that too, or.
When we do shows, because I mean we've only been a duet project for like a few months now, so when we do a show where we have to fill more than a half an hour, we have played quite a few of the Railway songs as duets. She will do Days of Wine and Roses, and she takes a verse, and
Song Away kind of stays how it is because I even sung backup on
she's actually in backup on the recording.
Oh.
Yeah, so that stays the same, and
she just sings along with me on the choruses and things like that. So she'll sing with me on a lot of the Railway stuff, and we've been trying to work some more of it out. So yeah.
I'm curious, Amanda, have you thought about writing songs from your perspective?
No.
Well, she wrote one.
It was
but she doesn't like it.
I don't like it.
So
but
you probably aren't going to hear that anytime soon.
The thing with me is I am a writer, but I write stories. So I tend to be far too detailed to like write a song. I've even like asked him about a song. I'm like, so what happened before, after? And he's like, I don't know, I know
I
it
didn't write
happened
that part
during,
of the story.
Yeah. Yes,
I know it
right.
happened during the 4 minutes of that song. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna turn some of your songs into stories. So I did. So some
Oh.
of his songs I actually turned into short stories.
Sticking around could definitely become a story.
That's an
Not a bad
interesting one
idea.
to do.
I mean, you're wondering like the backstory, right?
Yeah.
Like as an author, as a writer, you know, you're thinking about. It's sort of, I'm terrible when my wife and I are when Mrs. Dr. J and I are watching movies or things. I'm always, what do you think happened next? And she's like, well, that's not really what they want you to focus on. or what led up to that, right? So I think my mentality is similar to yours, which does not lend itself to songwriting.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's fair, because I'm always like, I wonder if, like, after this movie, if this happened.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I never wondered that.
Which is why you are a much better songwriter than I will ever be.
Yeah, because even my daughter does that. She's like, well, what do you think happened after da-da-da? So we'll have discussions about that. Yeah.
Well, at least you have someone to talk to.
Yeah, I do.
You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative. Charlie and Amanda Jackson are here in the studio. They're going to play out at Star City on March 17th, so jot that down in the calendar or put it in the phone, however you kids keep your calendars. March 23rd, they're going to be at the Age Nowhere Airport Sounds record release, and that's at the Yellow Cab Tavern, not to be missed. Now I'm also just dying to ask you guys for another song. Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely.
So in that case, can we get like 6 or 7? No.
I know how to strike an arc, and I know how to run a beat. These are the things that I've been taught. This is what makes sense to me. From the dirt beneath my nails to the steel toes in my boots, I only want what's real, searching for the truth. Out there in the distance, I catch a glimpse of you. A vision too good to be true. Need my oasis seldom seen. Shade me from the hot white sun that's beating down on me. Truth that lets the lies find the road on the horizon. You can be my shelter from the storm.
You can always keep me safe and warm.
Always stand by me. Oasis seldom seen.
I feel more than I talk. Sometimes I ramble on.
lovely.
Thank you.
That is just lovely. So is there any kind of story behind that? I mean, that seems so real to me, like something like your home or your family is
It's,
so powerful.
there's no like specific story, it's just, it is real. It's,
Yeah, that's probably the most autobiographical
yeah,
song
'cause
of all the ones I've written so
his
far.
his
but-
verse talks about his iron workings, that's what he
Yeah.
does for a living, and my verse talks about my anxiety really that I have to kind of deal with, and how I do just lie awake and think, oh gosh, what's gonna go on tomorrow? So I mean, it's the most real, but we ground each other pretty well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I'm also curious about, have you always sung, Amanda?
Yeah, I sang in choir when I was in high school, but there were a lot of good singers in my school, so they were the ones that were more focused on, which I was fine with. I didn't mind that. So it wasn't like there wasn't anything real nurturing there. And then after high school, I did a musical, and that was the first time that I ever sung without like a choir behind me, and it was terrifying. But it was fun, and like he said, we did a couple things at church, but yeah.
Then it only took her
always-
11 years before she started singing with me in public, so.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I've always sung.
But they were 11 good years, Charlie.
They really were 11 good years.
I'm also wondering if I'm thinking about the way country music is today. Maybe this is not a fair question to ask how you see yourself fitting into that, but how do you just think about the music you make in terms of country music overall?
I think you really kind of go for the older style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Johnny Cash, or even by today's standards, Jason Isbell, just that older
Dwight
sounding,
Yoakam,
that older sounding kind of country.
That classic feel.
Yeah.
So it fits more in kind of a traditionalist country.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
totally what you mean, because I hate to think about that, because most country radio has basically become what we might call pop radio.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to hear a Merle Haggard song.
No, unfortunately.
You know, the only time we're going to talk about Merle Haggard on country radio, I think, is when he passes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just thinking about this in terms of, a lot of the music you make has those connections to that kind of traditional country sound.
Right.
And so do you see yourself kind of continuing that tradition or expanding on that?
I mean, that's really the only kind of country I listen to, and that's kind of my skill set. That's what I write. I don't intend to start writing pop country anytime soon, so we'll just keep singing these songs. And
You're not going to sing about driving a pickup truck to the beach or anything?
no, probably
I,
not.
I think the most real country song he has is another one that we're trying to work out currently, but he wrote it 10 years ago when he got laid off from his job, and our car didn't work, and our dryer was broke,
Oh, man.
and we had 2 kids in diapers, 1 in glasses, and it was just,
So I just started
everything.
listing everything that had been going on, and it was all in 1 week
yeah,
that our
everything
dryer
went wrong.
broke, the car blew the engine, and my work told me that they were shutting down the plant.
Yeah, so
So,
it was,
that was a bad week.
it was very much one of those when everybody says, what do you get when you play a country
Yeah.
record backwards? It was one of those songs where everything went wrong, but it was
It
was
sounds like it
true.
was, really scripted, but everything happened
Yeah.
Oh,
in
wow.
that song.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, and that's something really cathartic about it.
right.
Right? By writing about all that stuff that went down, all those challenges, you're dealing with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'd argue in a much healthier way than other choices that could be made.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are definitely worse ways to deal with it.
I think the song came about is because after he told me all this, and I just got off the phone and just started crying because
Oh, it's a lot
yeah,
to take
it's a lot to
in.
take in. My son came up to me, and he's like a year old, and he put his hands on my knees, he gave me this just little crooked smile, and I
Oh.
just started laughing, and I was like, it's gonna be okay. It's really gonna be okay. And I told him that when I got home, and when he got home, and that song came about.
Yep.
So if you're just tuning in, this is your Tuesday afternoon alternative here on WUDR, Dayton, Ohio, a rock in the Gem City, music in all directions. Support your local music scene. We're here with Charlie and Amanda Jackson, the Jackson duo, Charlie, of course, also does some fine solo work and is the leading force in Charlie Jackson and the Heartland Railway, as the name itself would suggest. If you have some questions, let us know. I'm not going to give you the phone number because that could just get weird, answering that on air and everything.
Right.
But you can reach us through Twitter, DRJYTAA, or Facebook, your Tuesday Afternoon Alternative. I promise I will take a look. There's a song I got to play because I think this song would be great done as a duo. A Heartland Railway song,
Okay.
which I think had existed in some previous incarnations as well. Do you want to dance tonight?
That's one that's on the list that we're working on.
I'm so excited.
Splitting up the verses and properly replacing the pronouns to
Yeah.
make that one work. But that's one of the next ones on the chopping block for us.
Because it totally fits as a
Oh,
duo.
yeah.
It totally fits as a duo. I feel like I'm 2 for 2, so this is weird. I should go buy a lottery ticket or something.
Even though this song is actually about a one-night stand.
Right. I mean,
It's about, I'm sorry?
Yeah, this song is about a one-night stand.
Oh yeah.
And it's a made-up song.
That's
I wrote
not-
this song while we were together. This song didn't happen.
I was just gonna say, it has nothing to do with you, Amanda.